Hello, everyone. Welcome in. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar, Why Most Security Teams Don't Test Enough and How to Fix It. Before we get started, just a couple of items we want to go over. The first is that we are recording this session and we will be sharing it out within the next day or so to everybody that registered. So if you have to jump off early, don't worry, you'll be able to go and rewatch it. We also have a question feature available at the bottom of the screen. If you have any questions throughout the webinar, feel free to add them there and we will have time at the end to go over them. I see a couple of people are still joining, but we're just going to go ahead and jump right in. So thank you again for being here today and taking the time to join us for today's webinar, Why Most Security Teams Don't Test Enough and How to Fix It. I am joined today by Jim Mason, Senior Solutions Architect here at AttackIQ, and I will go ahead and hand it over to him.
Thank you very much, Liz, and thank you all for joining us today. Today, you'll receive an overview of AttackIQ Flex and how you can use it to test your security controls. Now, at AttackIQ, we get to speak with many CISOs and often ask about their views on cybersecurity testing. For example, when we ask CISOs, what's your position on vulnerability management? They often say it's a pain, but we have to do it. And then we ask, how do you see security testing? And the response is the same. It's a pain, but we have to do it. So we say, how do you view exposure management? When we ask that question, the tone changes just a bit. They say, it's my job, because CISOs are ultimately responsible for limiting an organization's exposure to APTs, or advanced persistent threats, breaches, and theft. Now, when we talk about testing, that said, there's pretty much some stats out there. One of them is over 70% of organizations find that 25% of their security controls don't work. Additionally, research has found that 82% of breaches have succeeded historically despite having the proper security solutions in place. The solution would seem obvious. Why not just test the solutions? But it's often a little more nuanced than that. While testing security solutions is a recommended practice, there are a number of challenges security teams face when attempting it. The first is price. If organizations opt for an automated adversarial exposure validation solution, they find that the price can sometimes be prohibitive. Second are the fast turnaround requirements. Now, when testing their assets and security control configurations, we find that customers want results fast, and that would enable them to make any necessary changes. This is especially true during high-profile, fast-moving attacks. Taking weeks to go through a manual assessment actually will not satisfy these requirements. Another is the testing complexity and skills gap. There is a lack of security control testing expertise out there. There simply aren't enough personnel with the required red team skill sets to test everything. Also, if you opt to bring in external red teams, those engagements can be expensive, invasive, and require extensive onboarding. The last barrier is a lack of visibility. So when we get into automated AEV platforms, they typically require host-based agents or test software to run the assessments or testing. Sometimes this can be impractical. For example, if you have an air-gapped environment that's not internet connected, perhaps a dark site, or a merger and acquisition situation. When a third party managing the customer's environment is also a case that could make agent installation improbable. And so all of these can result in a lack of visibility. AttackIQ Flex can help security teams overcome these obstacles, and we'll see why when we get to the demonstration. But a little bit on AttackIQ Flex. So AttackIQ Flex is the industry's first agentless AEV solution that allows anyone, including those without cybersecurity experience, to run very complex cybersecurity testing. And to think of this as red teaming at the click of a button. Imagine if you could perform the same testing at less than a fifth of the cost without any of the risks, planning, or time to implement. So if you had something like that, anyone could test and test much more often. And that's what we do with AttackIQ via our Flex platform. We provide answers to security validation questions in hours or even minutes and not weeks. And we do that via the Command Center Flex architecture that you see here. So at the core of this architecture is the AttackIQ Command Center. This is used by security operations teams to provision what are known as Flex portals. Now, AttackIQ Flex enables customers to run agentless testing, and then they can view those results directly within the interface. The portal hosts Flex packages, and we'll get into what those are in a bit, that are downloaded to and run from the endpoint of your choice. So a little bit on Flex packages. These are bundles that include various tactics, techniques, and procedures, also known as TTPs, that test security controls such as antivirus, endpoint detection and response, and next-generation firewalls. Packages emulate real-world attacker behaviors, but they're done in a non-intrusive manner. Also, any staged files within the Flex package used during a test are actually promptly removed during a cleanup process. And so Flex provides customers with a quick testing capability for situations where they cannot install test point software, for example, or to extend testing to remote or even air-gapped networks. And lastly, AttackIQ Flex integrates with Splunk. And so that's a security information and event management system that you're all probably familiar with. And so it provides continuous visibility into security gaps and enables you to streamline detection engineering. And so we're able to deliver insights and automatically generate Yara and Sigma rules to help close vulnerabilities. So let's demonstrate how to get started and what you can do with AttackIQ Flex. This is an example of a Flex deployment. So this is my portal. And so if you're the customer, we would gen up one of these portals for you. And keep in mind that Flex is built on a PLG, or product-led growth model. And so the idea here with a lot of software these days, the customer often wants to get their hands on it and try it out without necessarily being watched or even helped by us. And so this is built to help you do that. It's very simple. I mean, getting started with Flex is super easy. It has 3 simple steps to running testing. Here, we're in the Getting Started page. We'll give you a little bit of background about AttackIQ Flex and what you can do with it. And then to get into your testing, you simply download a test package from the test packages page, and we'll show you that in just a bit. Once you download a test package, you simply double click on it. It's just an executable. It will run everything self-contained on the machine that you download it to. Once that test is run, it will create a JSON file. And then with that JSON file, you can upload that to the Analyze page and then select to view the report by remitting the currency of Flex. And so we have 2 types of currency. We have the Flex credits, if it's commercial or private Flex instance. We also have for our MSSP, CSSPs, and also very large enterprises that wish to manage their own command center. We also have tokens, which enable you to run any Flex package regardless of credit costs. And so we also give you the frequently asked questions. So again, you can dig into this on your own and at your own pace. So we'll go to the home page. And from here, you can see that we feature a couple of perhaps newly released packages. And then also we'll give you the reports from packages that you've executed and viewed. Let's go to the test packages. So if you wish to get started, let's say you want to test on a Windows machine in your environment, you can click on the test packages and then this will build out. And from the test packages, we'll have them categorized in a number of different ways. All right, so let's go here. And what we can do is download the test packages. And so you'll see here we have featured. Again, featured are test packages that perhaps are recently released, responses to perhaps CISA alerts and the like. We also have security baseline packages. And so security baseline, you can think of these as cyber hygiene packages to help you test security controls in your environment. and again, in a very quick and easy fashion. There are also adversary emulation packages. So various threat actors that are out there, we have built out packages that enable you to test your security controls based on the tactics, techniques, and procedures that these various groups have been observed to use in the wild. We also have emerging threats. Here we could primarily, we are building these out to respond to CISA alerts. So these are often fast moving threats and new tactics that we're seeing out here in the wild. And then lastly, we have compliance-based packages. And so if you're on the other side of the pond in the EU, DORA is, of course, one of those things that just kicked off this past January in terms of being required, especially if you're in the financials. And then also we have the NIST CSF based on NIST CSF 2.0. And that is valuable for many organizations, irrespective of your particular background. And so let's go to security baseline. And we'll pick on one of these. Let's say you wanted to test your endpoint EDR. And perhaps you wanted to test this at one remote site or 50 remote sites. Very easy for you to get this either spun up in terms of creating a Flex portal for a member at each one of those remote sites, or you can provide a link to the package. Now, if you wanted to know what this was going to do, you can simply click on View More, and we'll provide a description of the package. So what is this actually going to execute? What's the background behind it? Next, you can click on Scenarios. And the scenarios within a package are the actual emulations. And so these are built on AttackIQ Enterprise. So we simply repackage and repurpose these for our Flex packages. And they execute from the perspective of the machine that you download the package to. And so you can see some of these tactics and techniques use various tools to emulate what an attacker would do once they are able to successfully compromise a machine. They're going to try and download multiple types of tools and then grab credentials from that machine with the goal of perhaps moving laterally in the environment. And so it would be good to know if your endpoint detection and response solution can actually stop that. So if you wish to run that, you could download this package to the local machine, or you can place it in a share where the machine can get it. And that's how you're able to test even in environments that are air gapped. And so once you have this package in place, you can simply go to Downloads and you could select to run this particular package. All you do is find that file and double click on it and simply click on Run. And Flex will begin to go through its progressions and execute everything that's part of this package. So note that you may ask, how are we able to run this without installing an agent? And so within the package, we have what's known as a dissolvable agent. And so it only exists within the realm of this package. Its sole purpose is to execute each of the scenarios. And then once everything is executed, all of the components of the Flex package are then dissolved and removed from the machine. So there's no need to place any software that has to remain resident on the machine post-test. To get started, simply click Continue, and the Flex package begins to go through things. Now, once the package has completed, you'll see that this has run successfully, and you simply click Continue and Finish. To view your results, you can then go to the Analyze page within your Flex portal. And then you can place a description for the package that you wish to upload. Again, you'll have this JSON file. That's the result, and they look like that. So you can simply select one. We'll select the security control baseline endpoint here and hit Open and Analyze. Flex will then take the JSON file. It will begin to open it and process the results. As it's analyzing, you will then be prompted post-analysis to view the results of your package run. When you click View, you then have the option, and in this case, we have kind of the MSSP, CSSP, or enterprise model where we can choose the token. You can also have a credit-based model where each package has a certain number of credits that you can then remit to view your results. So if we click confirm, and just like that, you have a report. So this is indeed the easy button when it comes to this type of testing. And even though Flex is, again, super easy to get started with and use, it provides a very complex and sophisticated group of tests for your environment. And so within this Flex package result, we'll give you an executive summary. We'll tell you the background and then the key findings. And so in this particular package, we had 11 total scenarios or emulations. 10 of those in this case were stopped. So not a perfect score, which means there's some things that we can definitely fix. Within the testing methodology, we'll also provide you the background on how this works. Someone inevitably will ask, well, you say this has no agents, how does it work? What are the steps? And so we provide that within the report. Everything from user activation, which you saw me kick off, to the execution of the various scenarios within the package, the activity on the host. So for example, when we're executing perhaps malware samples and things like that, if you have an AV or an EDR that's running on that machine, it will respond. And so you'll see that activity, even though it's an emulation, you'll see hopefully your security control, if configured to do so, will recognize that activity. And then we have the all-important post-test cleanup. Again, removing any vestiges of the AttackIQ Flex package from the machine, putting things back the way they were, and then you have your results, which you're viewing here. We'll provide the package details to you. So we'll give you a background on each thing included in the test suite, along with the results. So this is your report card. The value to leadership, especially if you're trying to test to see how ready you are, if you will, for a fast moving or new attack, you're then able to, in a short amount of time, run this Flex package. You'll get results in a kind of a brass tacks type report, let's call it that. And so now you can give this to leadership, you can give this to the security team, and you can see where you stand. So as we see, we stopped most of these, everything from Kerber roasting to dumping passwords with various tools. However, there is one chink in the armor, and that's our credentials in registry script. So that's something we need to shore up. And hence, we provide the recommendations. So for any of the scenarios that you may not have stopped, it doesn't mean your security control can't. It's just a matter, in most cases, of a configuration change. So we provide here the recommendations. With AttackIQ Flex, you'll see 3 different types of recommendations depending on the scenario. They could be MITRE ATT&CK sourced recommendations, AttackIQ curated recommendations, and also Sigma rules. And so here you see we tie to MITRE ATT&CK. So we provide everything from the MITRE ATT&CK recommendation itself, the standards that it's based on, along with the technique ID, also known as the T code. And so you could cross-reference this in attack.mitre.org, for example. And then we'll provide the technique overview. So this is beneficial, of course, for the red or blue team or engineering, whomever is actually associated with this testing and can benefit from this information, but we'll give you the technique overview, what's the background on it, and then also the actual MITRE ATT&CK mitigation code and steps. So for more information, you can join us at www.attackiq.com, and you can simply go to Platform and select AttackIQ Flex, and then we'll take you to the Flex page where we provide the overview of AttackIQ Flex, pricing models, use cases that could benefit you and your team. Additionally, we have AttackIQ Academy. And so this is our way of giving back to the community. AttackIQ Academy is available. It's 100% free. We have, wow, I think over 70,000 students now. And so with the AttackIQ Academy, again, it's a way to learn about this AEV space or adversarial exposure validation. And once you register, which is really easy to do, you can simply come to Catalog and click on Agentless Threat Emulation with AttackIQ Flex version 3. And so this is a course, it's about an hour long, but you'll get hands-on experience from our wonderful instructor, Keith Wilson, on AttackIQ Flex. So with that, we thank you. We hope you enjoyed this session. I'll turn it back over to our moderator for any questions.
All right, it looks like we don't have any questions right now, but if you guys come up with any, feel free to email us at inform@attackiq.com and we'd be happy to answer them. Thank you guys for joining us and have a great day.